As usual, in the light of truth. Every week we have a new topic for. First of all, how are you? First of all, and how is the weather where you? I can call. Today, in one day, we had hailstone, all changes. Basically, you can imagine. So, welcome, listeners, to the show, the Spiritual Discussion Show, and we have a topic every week. We have a new topic for discussion. The topic tonight is the power of union. The power of union. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK phone number, which is 079 39 64. Use WhatsApp. And if you're out, 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. That is Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. If you scroll down on the home page, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. I'm going to begin with what is the Grail Message? The Grail Message, in the light of truth, by Abdushin, is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the, for through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail Message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail Message, Abdushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture world happenings, that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again, in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail Message lives to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gap. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic for discussion tonight is the power of union. The power of union. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting. That is Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. If you scroll down on the home page, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. And before I continue further, I just want to wish the listeners, or those at least who are celebrating, Happy New Chinese New Year 2025, and it's the year of the snake. And I just thought of I did a bit of checking on what is this year about, or what is the year of the snake about, and it says the year of the snake is said to be recognized for um, their keen insight and extraordinary intelligence. I think the people who are born in the year of the snake are said to be recognized for their keen insight and extraordinary intelligence. And they say the snake is also considered to be the most tenacious of the 12 zodiac animals, and also believed to be enigmatic. And the snake, symbolizing wisdom and transformation, offers opportunities for personal growth and change. So that's actually tomorrow, 29th of January. Now, Gregory, you know I like to always look up the meaning of the words in the topic. So it's very short words tonight. Is the power of union. So really there's only two keywords, power and union. So the first one is power. And in the dictionary I found two meanings of the word power. The first one, it says the ability or capacity to do something or act in a particular way. And they give an example, the power of speech. So I'm just going to repeat that, the ability or capacity to do something or act in a particular way. Gregory, what do you say about this meaning?
Well, thanks for this the opportunities. Within our framework of discussion, which are the laws of creation, the laws of nature, albeit the framework of the walk in the light of truth, the Grail Message, you find that which you just read out is only a pointer, but a limited pointer for that.
So let me look at the second meaning. It says the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. And how about this one, Gregory?
These expressions merely are more like adjectives, qualifying, pointing, describing what power is. But they do not give the precise definition of what power is.
Okay. Would you like to give us let's say, a better meaning or description so we can have a clearer idea?
Again, within the framework of the laws of creation, laws of nature, you will find that power simply is that which impels motion.
Power is something that impels motion. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll keep that in mind as we go. Okay. Let me just make a note of that. Something that impels motion. Right. Now, the next word we have is union. Again, I have two meanings in the dictionary. The first one, it says the action of joining together or the fact of being joined together. And well, they have written this, which is especially in a political context. I'm not quite sure that only one type of union exists. So but that's what the meaning they've given here. The action of joining together or the fact of being joined together, especially in a political context. What can you say on this one, Gregory?
As a picture which is still not precise.
Right. Okay. And I'm sure in our discussion, we're not talking about political context. It's more, let's say, the world context. So this, the whole world, not specific to any category. So I think that's, and I'm really wondering why the dictionary is saying that. It can be in one angle, if you're looking at one category, but in a general meaning, it shouldn't be like that. So I will look at the second one, Gregory. I must warn you, it doesn't sound any better. It says a society or association formed by people with a common interest or purpose.
That is also a pointer.
Okay, thank you. So I think I will continue because I was trying to see a spiritual angle on these meanings, but they don't seem to be like that. They're more earthly, but we will continue. So now, Gregory, I did a bit of research on this topic of the power of union, and there's something I found in Wikipedia. It's like say scientific or in the field of physics. That's what I found, and they called it unification of theories. And well, in a way, there's always a theory to explain things. So, but let's see what this definition or concept given here in Wikipedia is about unification of theories in physics. It says unification of theories about observable fundamental phenomena of nature is one of the primary goals of physics. The two great unifications to date are Isaac Newton's unification of gravity and astronomy, and James Clerk Maxwell's unification of electromagnetism. The latter has been further unified through the concept of electro-weak interaction. It's getting a bit technical, I must admit. The process of unifying forces continues today with the ultimate goal of finding a theory of everything. So they go on a bit, so I'm going to just read a bit more. Unification of gravity and astronomy. The first great unification was Isaac Newton's 17th century unification of gravity, which brought together the understanding of the observable phenomena of gravity on Earth with observable behavior of celestial bodies in space. His work is credited with laying the foundations of future endeavors for a grand unified theory. For example, it has been stated that if we have to take any single individual as the originator of the quest for a unified theory of physics, and by implication the knowledge of it, it has to be Newton. I think that this is just, how can I say, just trying to add extra words, which is not needed. So the real thing, Gregory, or excuse me, sorry for that. What I'm seeing here, Gregory, which we can talk a little bit about, is a bit. It goes on further, but it says Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. Newton is how I remember him. He came up with this. Well, we know that in quotes he discovered gravity, and it looks like he tried to join it with astronomy, and he was looking for, well, through observation of gravity and celestial bodies, behavior of celestial bodies, he seemed to think they're linked together, through gravity. I think that this is well known in physics. So, an observing of nature. And Gregory, when we have always talking about a context or framework, and we're talking about creation. So creation, it includes the earth and the celestial bodies. Now, what do I want to say here? So, Gregory, we're talking about union, power of union. Maybe I'll say, yeah, let's just look at that. Can we say the scientific, this particular one, there's some more I would like to talk about in a moment, Gregory. So just this particular one with Sir Isaac Newton about gravity and the connection with celestial bodies, is that, could you say he discovered something there which is in line with, you could say, the laws of nature?
Well, thanks. There should be some clarification about this. Isaac Newton did not discover gravity because gravity has always been there. However, he gave expression to the model he built up to represent masses and gravity. That is very different from discovering gravity, which gravity has always been there as long as there are masses that are involved in a particular scenario. So what he did was to put representation, measurable representation of these masses, which masses spread about within the perceivable universe. That means the material universe, which is, or the physical universe, where measurements can be carried out. That is what he did.
Thank you for that. When I'm using the word discover, that is his observation. That doesn't take away from that gravity already existed. So it's not about that it existed before or not. It's something somebody observed. So he made formula or connected it into some measurement, as you point out, but it wasn't like, let's say, in front of human beings, direct, I don't know how to put it, perceptions and things like that. So it was not like in front of our eyes. People may have seen something, but it's not like they really knew it. They didn't know much, let's say. That's what I want to say. So he brought it out to the forefront. So when I say discover, it means in that way, not that something doesn't, because you just think of Christopher Columbus, for example. He was going to look for India, and he decided to go a different route than everybody else. And then on his way, he found something called, we call it now America. So, but it was always there, as you said. The land of America was there. We're just giving it that name, America, of course. But so it was a discovery in that way, not about something doesn't exist already. It already exists. We know that. Just like the world already exists before, so we landed on this earth, you can say. But we came to know of it by, let's say, observing things. So that's the point I wanted to make.
What is being stressed is that he had a model. What scientists do is modeling. And in modeling, they have formulas or they have forms to do representations. That is what scientists have been doing, and that is what they still do till today and tomorrow. And in their modeling, if the models they have put forward fits with the facts, then they can build upon that to explore further. That is what science is all about.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Now I just want to continue on another part of this unification of these laws, in a way they're looking for, to explain things, to understand things. So in physics, as we've been talking here, there's another one, which is called unification of magnetism, electricity, light, and related radiation. That is the, how can I say, the heading that has been put, unification of magnetism, electricity, light, and related radiation. And again, this is from Wikipedia, it says, the ancient Chinese people observed that certain rocks, such as lodestone and magnetite, were attracted to one another by an invisible force. This effect was later called magnetism, which was first rigorously studied in the 17th century. However, prior to ancient Chinese observations of magnetism, the ancient Greeks knew of other objects, such as amber, that when rubbed with fur would cause similar invisible attraction between the two. This was also studied rigorously in the 17th century and came to be called electricity. Thus, physics came to understand two observations of nature in terms of some root cause, electricity and magnetism. However, the work in the 19th century revealed that these two forces were just two different aspects of one force, electromagnetism. So, Gregory, it looks like as time goes on, we get to discover, or I don't know if you're not going to use the word discover, but come to realize that, you know, the forces in nature, as we're calling, we might get one aspect of it initially or early at one point, and then later we discover there's another aspect. And as I said in this one, they thought there were two different forces, but they turned out to be one. So again, there's this, all of this is linking to the topic tonight, which is the power of union. So you're seeing things, you see gravity. First you thought it was only on the Earth, then you discovered it's in the celestial bodies as well. Then you discovered here electricity, which was not known as electricity in the early time, but then they called it that. And then they discovered this magnetism, which they thought was something separate, and then they discovered it was all one. So and there's another thing coming up again, Gregory. So is there anything you could say about that, Gregory?
Well, you already put the precise point across. You said on the one hand, there is electricity. On the other hand, there is magnetism. And then in the power of union, you mentioned there's magnetism or something of that nature because they combine both names. But the origin of these really have not been very well established. Although you have that there is a model which is used to describe these natural phenomena, but the real origin of magnetism or electricity, the origin which must be described or must be defined in accordance with the laws of nature, of creation, that has not been well defined or realized. All because, very simply, the scientists are only observing the outermost effects, the inner core that gave rise to this external behavior has not been looked into at all.
Thanks very much, Gregory. I want to continue again on this physics, you could say, studies. They looked at another aspect of nature, which is here, they call it the second great unification. Was James Clerk Maxwell in 19th century, unification of electromagnetism. It brought together understanding of the observable phenomena of magnetism, electricity, and light, and more broadly, the spectrum of the electromagnetic radiation. This was followed in the 20th century by Albert Einstein's unification of space and time, and of mass and energy through his theory of special relativity. Later, Paul Dirac developed the quantum field theory, unifying quantum mechanics and special relativity. I'm going to, there's something else there. So, Gregory, it looks like there's progress being made over time in finding new. Well, if I say finding, just realizing, because the word discovery, yeah, things already exist. That's quite clear. Just we are not conscious of it, or we are just not aware of it. And as time goes, we seem to get to know more about these things, and through this science discoveries, if I use that way. And look, so here it looks now, Gregory, they're able to now connect, you can say, because again, we are talking about the power of union, and here we're seeing, we've seen already electromagnetism, and then now light with radiation in it, coming radiation, electromagnetic radiation, they're calling it, and even now, with Albert Einstein, they discovered the unification of space and time, where his famous formula of energy equals half mc squared. I know it's all very scientific, but I will just say it, which is energy equals half times mass times c, which is the speed of light, squared. That's what he found. So connecting, the point is he's connecting energy, mass, and this speed of light there. So it's time even, all coming together. And that was called the theory of special relativity. And then later, Paul Dirac came and he found this quantum field theory, which unified quantum mechanics, which are the more mini particles of matter, with relativity. So, Gregory, it looks again there. First of all, Gregory, are these only physical? Is science only able to, or physics only able to look at the physical angles of life or nature, or can it go? Because it seems to be really progressing, and I'm just wondering. We could talking about light and so on. So, is science or physics able to only reach into matter, or can it go a bit beyond matter as well?
The tools that science uses are those tools that make things perceptible to them. That means the five senses. And where the scenario where you can make measurements. Beyond that, science, which basically builds up models, because it does a lot of modeling. You cannot model something which you cannot even perceive. So anything which is above which is above the tools that science uses, science is oblivious of. So you must have, unless there are measurable properties or measurable features, using the five senses that we have or the extension of it, science cannot go further. It can only say, okay, maybe. And that is why when it comes to, going further, is incapable because it lacks the ability. However, those areas where it has investigated, it has come out with very precise measurements, which are to a large extent repeatable, so anyone can do verification. And it stops there.
Thanks for that, Gregory. We're going to keep going further into this topic in a moment. I just want to let the listeners know that this is the Spiritual Discussion Program on Bless Radio, and the aim of the program is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Aprushin. And if you wish to know more about the Grail Message or want to get a copy of the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic that we're discussing tonight is the power of union. The power of union. If you have any questions or comments, you can join in the discussion with by contacting us on our UK number. That is, of course, if you're in UK, you can contact us this number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 004479 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting. That is blessradio1, that's the number one, .com. If you scroll down on the home page, you will see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. As I mentioned, we are broadcasting on blessradio1, the number one.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, again, that's the number one, space, live stream. That is for the live show, which is on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. You can also listen to the recording of this show the next day, again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number one again, space, Grail Message, space, the topic of the show, which is the power of union. And you can also listen to us on one other place, which is Zeno, that's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1, again the number one there. So Gregory, we've been sort of looking from one angle only about this power of union, which is from science or physics, and even we didn't really know what is really power. In the dictionary definition, there was no satisfactory sort of meaning given. So please, could you first tell us what is power? And I've got another question to follow on that one.
I thought at the beginning, the stress was put on the clear definition that power is that which impels motion.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yes, so that was your definition, and now you have reminded me. Yes, so let me just, because I wrote it down and I need to remind myself, something that impels motion. Okay, so I have another question to follow from that. So where does that power come from?
That power can be transmitted from a personality or a non-personality. For when power is considered and what has been defined as power, because it impels motion, then one can already see that all that exists is in motion. And since that all that exists is in motion, power must have impelled it. That means there must be a source that impels this motion. As to the where and the how, that is part and parcel of the discussion such as ours.
Now, Gregory, there's another angle. I know because we have been talking about physics and science in the first half an hour of the show, but I think the power is not only the physical power that people are, let's say, where energy, we consume energy and so on, that people are used to, like gas and electric and so on, or whatever other form of power that is, energy is being used. And you can say sun, because in the end, in our solar system at least, sun is the source to drive, this. There's not only the physical power. That's the physical power, we are more familiar with it. So there's more to it than that. So that's why I want to just explore that now. Yes. So maybe Greg, we can talk about this power in nature, because we came through nature, right? So this world that we live in, so Gregory, what I'm pointing to, Gregory, is there more than just the physical power? That's what I'm asking or saying.
You yourself mentioned that we came through nature. The nature you are referring to is that part of nature which is perceptible to our five senses, which basically is the material, the world of matter with its heaviness, which are perceptible to our five senses. However, one must ask, what is matter? What impels matter into motion? For if there is no motion, then there is nothing. There's no life. Therefore, power must be connected with life. Power and life are identical because only that which streams out of power impels motion. But these one has to go in a step-by-step manner so that one doesn't jump to conclusion. Unless the individual is able to perceive the connections within a discussion or within that which he or she is able to perceive. If there are no connections, then it comes to a stop. Nature, like you mentioned, that we came through which we came, exists because through our senses, the instruments given to us, one is able to perceive. Behind it, the volition behind nature, the motive, which many will call motive power, that motive power must have always been there. What lies beyond nature that made it possible for nature to be observable must have been there. So in this way, the individual is able, in simple and humble steps, is able to reach further, not only with his five senses or her five senses, but also in their thoughts, and above all, in their intuitions. That is the direction that is stressed in these discussions.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for giving us like a wider view. We could say this life that we are in, this world that we are living in. You know, there is this world of matter, as you mentioned, material world, and there's more than that. And the power is streaming through, yes, in this world of matter too, but it's coming, let's say, from, I'm going to say, a higher world, which is not matter. So there's other spheres, if I can say, which is before you get where the power goes through, streams through, and then eventually it hits this world of matter that we are living now. So this world that we live is quite really massive, vast, and material world is only part of it. So that's how we can look at it. And you've just introduced there this world of where we have volition, intuition, and thoughts. So, which we human beings, we know we have thoughts, and they also, let's say, manifest or they work in a particular world. I know it's invisible. We don't see our thoughts, but they do exist. So this, you could say, is the world of the beyond the material. And they have an impact and so on. So this is what we are, in the topic tonight of the power of union, we want to look at. We started with the physical world, but in a way, that is not really a living world. It's what the living world, or where life is able to manifest itself, you know, or act, you can say. And we human beings have, you could say, a ability to act, you know, and use this power on the earth, of course, that we know that. And yet the power, the source of the power, is not just this earth, it's or the world of matter. It's from a higher world, you can say. And we are able to, if I can say, direct it. So this is what we are looking at now. That's where we are going to go and realize what is this power of union that we are talking about. It looks very general, this term, the power of union. But when we started with power, or looked at power, and now we're going to see what examples there are of using this power, and which is uniting in different fields of activity. That's what I'm going to say. And again, I know I'm being general still, but it's just opening the subject so that we can now go and look at these different fields where this activity happens. Okay. So I want to look at one thing, because, you know, I said, so let me ask this first, Gregory. Do we human beings have a way to direct this power? I sort of gave a hint about that. Can we, because the power is not ours, right, Gregory? It's not, we are not the power, but we have the power, let's say, we have a role to play in the where the power goes. Am I right there, Gregory?
Yes, of course. Just as you have that light coming from the sun, or from a light bulb, or from any source, light coming out, we want to put a prism on the path. Then the possibility is there that the straight path which the light rays has been traversing can subsequently be bent. That's, or it's apparent. Doesn't mean that any object placed in it is bent. But you can have that there will be a change in direction. The same capability that the human personality possesses, where through his thoughts, through his intuitive volition, he or she is able to direct or change the path through which that neutral power was flowing. We all have that in our capability because we have our thoughts. And through our thoughts or our deeds, we can influence others. Because power is involved, that power which induces motion, others are compelled, one way or the other, to reflect. In their reflections, they may come to different conclusions, but at least it touched the people for further reflection. So one can see how directly or indirectly, how power induces motion.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this answer and explanation. So we have a volition, and we have this thoughts which you can direct on. I'm going to read something now, Gregory, from the Bible, or for the listeners, as this is really, where Jesus said something. This is in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 to I think 11. If I just make sure I get it here. Yes, and it's titled "Ask, Seek, Knock." And this is the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 7. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good things to your children, how much more your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. So Gregory, and listeners, why I read that, because we're talking about the power of union, and although these words of Jesus may not sound that there's some relation between our topic and this, but you could say there Jesus is telling us there's a way things work in life, you can say. In the activity of nature is another way we could call it. So you ask, and it will be given you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open for you. When this is and for everyone who receives, the one who seeks finds. For everyone who asks, receives. The one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. So, Gregory,
Hello? Hello? Are you there?
and if you knock on the door will open. Gregory,
You have been silent.
oh, okay. I'm not on mute. Can
Yeah,
you
but
hear me now?
yes, now we're hearing you.
So I'm going to say, did you hear me read the words from Matthew chapter 7?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so I don't know where I got cut off, but what I'm saying, Gregory, and listeners, is that Jesus was saying, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, and knock and the door will be open to you. So it on the surface, that sounds like, oh, something just happens just by asking or wanting something, almost like, how can I say, I was going to use the word magic, but actually there's a process there. So, and similarly, that is related to this power of union. So can we connect that, Gregory? Can we say something, what Jesus said in these words, and and um, and how it connects with this, how the power of union works?
First, language, which is used for communication, is a metaphor. Secondly, when Christ spoke, his mission being that of the Spirit, a spiritual mission, so the language of the Spirit, which is now used as a metaphor, is what is referred to. So asking, which refers a pointer, because he was painting the picture, and every picture is a pointer, was referring to the innate ability that the human personalities have within themselves. By exercising those innate features, that will be tantamount to asking. That will be tantamount to seeking. That will be tantamount to knocking. For the power which streams through creation induces motion within these individuals who, in the process of striving to become self-conscious, they have to ask, they have to seek, they have to knock. So you find that it is the spiritual language he was referring to. And if the human personality, which human personality itself is of non-material, but is of spirit, hence the spiritual language, if it exerts itself using the power which have been lent to it, then if it seeks, diligently, it will find. If he knocks diligently, the path or the door will be open. That is what is meant there. The scenario which he mentioned, in which he mentioned seeking, asking, and knocking, this particular scenario shows three different aspects of the features of the human personality, which is of spirit. And in exercising this, you will find that power which has been lent to them, which is made possible, when used aright, will unite all these. When you are seeking for something, you're not seeking for nothing. When one is knocking, you must be knocking on some substantiality or substance. You're not knocking in the air. So most or all of the expressions which he permitted were consistent with the laws of nature, the laws of creation, and they are self-evident. That is why he had to bring it to the level of a child, of asking, of seeking, of knocking, and even went further, talking about the child, for it shows how the human personality, which personality initially is a child of creation, but in its activities, in its features, in its striving, should become a child of the Almighty that granted it the power. For subsequently, there must be justice. Justice in the sense that since power was lent, was granted to the individual, the need must have been there to use it aright in accordance with the will that permitted that power to be shared or to be granted to the individual. And the individual subsequently has to give accounts.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for this answer and picture you're painting there. I want to let the listeners know that this is Bless Radio, and it's a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abrushin. And if you wish to know more about the Grail Message, or get a copy of the Grail Message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic that we are discussing tonight is the power of union. The power of union. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00447939641958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting. That is blessradio1, that's the number one.com. If you scroll down on the home page, you will see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. As I've said, we are broadcasting on blessradio1, that's the number one.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number one again, space live stream. That is for the live show, which we broadcast on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number one again, space, Grail Message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the union of power. Oh, sorry, I'm saying it the wrong way. The power of union. I'm going to mix it up, I'm sorry there. So that the correct topic is the power of union. And of course, you can listen to the recordings of our previous shows as well. And thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1. Again, that's the number one. Now, Gregory, I think I would, well, we have mentioned that we have thoughts, we have volition as human beings. And I thought at this stage, I would like to read from the Grail Message, where we can see how the thoughts operate, you can say, and this is from the lecture Silence. The lecture Silence in the Grail Message, just the first page, you can say, or beginning of the lecture. So let me just make sure I've got it here. Yes. When a thought strikes you, keep it back. Do not utter it at once, but nourish it, for it will condense through being retained in silence and gain strength, and gain strength like steam under counter pressure. Pressure and condensation produce the quality of a magnetic activity, in accordance with the law that all that is stronger attracts what is weak. Similar thought forms are thus attracted from all sides and retained, constantly reinforcing the power of your original thought, yet working in such a way that through the joining of other forms, the originally produced form is refined, changes, and takes on different shapes until it comes to maturity. Indeed, you sense all this inwardly, but you always think it is entirely your own volition. But you never give purely your own volition in any matter. there are always other influences as well. What does this process tell you? That only in the union of many elements can anything perfect be created. Created? Is that right? No, but formed. For there is really nothing new to be created. In everything, it is merely a matter of producing new forms, since all the elements already exist in the vast creation. But these elements are to be pressed into service for the way to perfection, which is brought about through union. Union. Do not pass over this lightly, but try to become absorbed in the concept that maturity and perfection are achieved through union. The principle rests in all creation as a treasure that needs to be unearthed. It is closely related to the law that only in giving can there also be receiving. And what is required to grasp these principles aright, thus to experience them? Love. And therefore love indeed stands as the highest power, as unlimited might in the mysteries of the great life. As with a single thought, union molds, refines, and forms, so is it with man himself and with the whole of creation, which in a never-ending fusion of existing individual forms undergoes transformations through the power of volition and thus becomes the way to perfection. A single individual cannot offer you perfection, but the whole of humanity, with all its varied characteristics, may do so. Each individual has something which is definitely part of the whole. And this is also why one so far advanced as no longer to know any earthly desires loves all mankind, not one individual, because only the whole of mankind can make the strings of his mature soul, laid bare through purification, sound the chord of heavenly harmony. He bears harmony within himself because all strings vibrate. I'm going to stop there. Gregory, that's, how can I say, very deep picture of how human beings can use this power in terms of thought, in the field of thought, you can say, to produce something, let's say, very beautiful in harmony and perfection. That is, I mean, there's so much being said. In fact, it's hard to put it in a summary, but it's giving a picture, like I say, of how we can, yes, use this power of thought, or volition is even a better word, pressing it, having if I say the word having a wish or a goal, and then, but for that goal to manifest, or for that wish or volition to manifest, it cannot work just by our own thought. It needs to unite with others' thoughts and volitions, and then it becomes more powerful and matures. That's the big key word there, mature. And then it can work in harmony. Like you can hear when we think of harmony, think of music, heavenly harmony, even sound the chord of heavenly harmony. So it's really quite amazing. And, you know, my question there, Gregory. So there we have been given an example of how this power of union, yes, you could say the importance of union or the need for union has to be there to make things happen, I'm not able to give exact probable example of that. So, Gregory, anything you'd like to add or say on this?
Actually, nothing, because the reading or the work itself is self-consistent and very clear.
Exactly, and there's so much in it. What I want to say, I was trying to read it slowly. Even reading it slowly, it helps, but then you realize there's still more to take in and to absorb from it. He even says it for union. Do not pass over this lightly, but try to become absorbed in the concept that maturity and perfection are achieved through union. And the principle rests in all creation as a treasure that needs to be unearthed. It is closely related to the law that only in giving can there also be receiving. And what is required to grasp these principles aright? Thus to experience them, love. And therefore love indeed stands as the highest power, as unlimited might in the mysteries of the great life. So this one paragraph alone has so much being stated there, I guess, Gregory, this is like a life guidance or life advice. I don't know what exactly the word to use of how to live. I mean, that's of course that's what life guidance means, but in a way, how to stand as you could say, a genuine human being who wishes to be really alive in their activities. And then you with this living alive, being alive, you are able to, I mean, I don't want to use the word success, but to really function in a proper way, using living to your full potential. Let me say something like this, I would like to say. So it's something, that's how deep or important these words are, to when you realize what that means. And I think, Gregory, we should just say, so having this gift, I will use the word gift, of volition, and can you say about that, Gregory? What is this, what is this really, this gift? What is the possibility that we can have, having this gift of volition?
The human personality, which is of spirit, has the free will to make decisions on how to proceed, albeit first and foremost spiritually. That is a gift. Secondly, in thoughts. That in itself is another gift. And finally, in deeds. If the spiritual movement resonates with the thoughts of the individual, which thoughts of the individual resonates with his deeds, then power streams through in such a way that it is not obstructed between, or there's no obstruction between one's intuition and one's thoughts, and no obstruction between one's thoughts and one's deeds. Then, and only then, is that power perceptible in the union, in the functioning union between the spiritual activities and the thoughts volition, and between the thought volition and also the deeds. So you now have a scenario. That scenario in which there is the intuition, there are the thoughts, and there are the deeds. So when they unite, whenever unity is talked about, there must be a connection. If there is no connection at all between the different parts of a scenario, then there will be no sinking down of the impression. The impression which the intuition exerts on one's thoughts, or the impression which the thoughts exerts on one's deed. But as long as there are connections, then that power which now excites motion in one's thoughts, and the one's thoughts exciting power in the deeds, it means it flows through. That is the power of the union.
Thanks very much for that, Gregory. There's I'm not going to read it in our show now, but if you continue to read this lecture Silence, that's what we have just read. If you continue to read that, there's more you discover, let's say, or realize about this activity of our volition, and it's, you could say, the consequence of it. I mean, Gregory, you've given a beautiful answer there, or picture there about the working of the volition, the thoughts and deeds. And if they're all of the same nature or aligned, you can say, then of course you can imagine how powerful will be the result and the consequences from the resulting, what we sow, you shall reap, what you give, you receive. Yes, now we are talking with the human being. What are you giving out? You have your volition, then comes the thoughts, then comes the deeds. If they all match in a line, is a word I can use with it, then you can imagine the beautiful result that can happen. If your volition, which we call will, your will, and then your thoughts are not matching that will, so, and then your deeds also not matching that, then you can be surprised, won't be surprised to see that probably, well, most likely you won't achieve that, what you will wants put out, or it will be obstructed, as Gregory has been saying. Things just won't work out, So if you can see that, but if they work together in union, as you've pointed out, Gregory, then the result will be incredible. Because this thing's actually what we are told: what you sow, but you reap it in multiple. It's not just as we know from nature, you plant a seed and then you get let's say, tree, a fruit tree, but it produces many, many fruits, not just the one seed that you planted. It's multiplied. So similarly, that is the power we are talking of union, is what we are talking about. If your volition, now aligns with your thoughts, and then that comes with then with your deeds, then of course the result will be multiple fruit than what you had started with, what you had sown, you can say. So this is what we are talking about, the power of union, listeners. Uh, if you just can see it as a living happening rather than some concept which is like theoretical, you have to see it as a reality, and then these things will, you will have seen it and experienced it as well. And then it's not like somebody's telling you something, you see it with your own eyes. And it's not just sweet words that people might think, oh, just somebody's just trying to make some speech or something. No, this is reality. You can observe it for yourself if you look on it, reflect on it properly, and look, even act on it, and then you will see. And I can only urge listeners to, if you, as a way to experience that, is to read this lecture Silence for yourself, and then you can, it's quite a lot in there, that lecture, I must say, but if you take it in, you will get a lot of understanding about this process. Now, so Gregory, this may sound like a silly question, but Jesus said, "Ask and it shall be given to you, and seek you will find. Knock and it will be open to you." So, does that mean, can we have everything we want? And if not, why not?
That particular statement basically, only when it is understood in a spiritual sense, only then can one comprehend it. Earlier, one had stressed that Christ was referring in his language, was referring to the Spirit. For it is the Spirit that really counts. It is the Spirit that grows. And the picture he painted was that of a spirit that needs to awaken. However, many a time, that spiritual picture which has been painted is ignored. And the question therefore arises, can we have anything we want? That picture was always referring to the Spirit and not the wishes of men. The wishes of men, many a time when considered clearly, these wishes are of no benefit, for the Spirit is supposed to, through its vigorous activities, grow by knocking, by asking, and through all forms of motion that it is involved with. However, if it slows down and it does not ask questions, it does not seek. In all naturalness, if you do not seek, then you will not find. If you do not knock, then the path will not be opened. That means the door will not be opened. For the ones who engage or not engage in such picture as Christ has painted, will be such that the inner movement of the individual gradually slows down. Basically, that is referred to as spiritual indolence. With spiritual indolence, the inner personality gradually falls asleep. And many a time it is very challenging to wake it up. So all Christ was referring to was that of the Spirit. For his mission, principally, is to awake the human spirit to further recognitions. So it doesn't mean that any human being can say, I wish this, all right, I ask for this, and I will get it. That asking is of the spirit. The individual must exert itself.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for this answer. And you re-emphasizing what you said earlier, and I got that. But so thank you for that. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. This is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abdrushin. If you wish to know more about the Grail Message or want to get a copy of the Grail Message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, message, message.com. And the topic that we're discussing tonight is the power of union. The power of union. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. That is for the people in UK to contact the UK number. If you're outside of UK, you have to add a couple of zeros at the beginning. So I'll just say that. So if you're outside UK, you can contact us on 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting, and that is Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. If you scroll down on that homepage, you will see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. And as I've said, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, again the number 1 there, space, live stream. That is for the live show, which is on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. You can also listen to a recording of this show, that is the next day, by going again to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1, space, Grail Message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the power of union. And of course, you can listen to the recording of our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. So, Gregory, we've looked at how we human beings, use our thoughts or volition, which is, you can say, our will, and then the thoughts, and then the deeds, and how they need to align if we want to get, let's say, a fruitful result. But also, Gregory, in my previous question, when I asked, can you have anything you want? He said it has, and when Jesus was saying, ask and it shall be given to you, all this is only to be applied into the spiritual sense, not in this material sense. I want a job, I want a home, and money, and what else, that people are generally, which you could say is about survival or something material, you can say. That is not, you could say, how it's meant to be taken. And the way to think about these things is you have to have a foundation on which you build on. So the foundation is the spiritual foundation. If you set a spiritual foundation right, then all the other things will follow. Just like we mentioned, start with your will, then you have your thoughts, which need to align with your will, and then you do the deeds, which also need to align with your thoughts and will, if you are looking to having a productive result. Okay. Now, Gregory, these words, will, thoughts and deeds, they are all neutral. You can have a good thought, you can have a bad thought. We didn't say about that. Maybe this is something that we are assuming, that everybody would want to have good will, good thoughts, and good deeds. But of course, having free will, you can do either way, good or bad. So I know we are encouraged, or if I use the word encourage, to do good. But what I'm wondering, Gregory, is this power of union, does it work the same way with bad or evil, will or thought? Can we look at that as well, Gregory? Because we are implying that you're supposed to be doing good, which is understandable, but at the same time, we know in this world the world that we live, there's definitely good and evil happening together. So can we look at that side as well, Gregory? How does it manifest, you can say, because maybe in the world, Gregory, people observe that it appears that the people in power or the evil people seem to get away with things, and they even seem to be quite powerful. And you're wondering, wait a minute, good people should be the one who should be succeeding, not this evil or bad, whatever the word is, being successful. And then that's how you can start thinking, well, maybe this is not true, you know. The good is not a meaning, is not a good, it's not powerful or not successful. I'm not quite sure how to put it. So how can Gregory we understand or have confidence that the good will win out as it's what is to be, you know, right, like justice is done. Let me say it that way. Justice is done when good people or good people do good, they get the good result, and the evil get the evil result. We don't always see that in the in the world that we live, material world. So, is there something more that we need to understand or appreciate?
Thanks for this particular question, because so much has been inadvertently distorted and therefore lacks clarity. That which is good, not judged by the arbitrariness of men, that which is good is only good in accordance with the laws of nature, in accordance with the laws of creation, or what one may refer to as the divine will. For that which is good is of benefit to the individual. Many a time that which is of benefit to individual may not be pleasant to the individual in the first instance. Only subsequently, when the individual matures above a particular threshold, only then is he or she able to perceive that which has been of benefit to it and that which really has not been of benefit. Because that which is of benefit assists the individual to become more self-conscious. That which is of benefit helps the individual to become more awake, more aware, not only of its surrounding, but more aware of the implications of his or her activities, which activities elevates it in accordance with the laws of creation or laws of nature. So subsequently, you have that individual in its further strivings is able to utilize that power that streams through it to excite activities, to initiate activities which are of benefit to himself or herself and also to others. Why? Simply because it realizes that the goal must be unflinching. Which goal is the self-development which enables the individual to become self-conscious. Because all the individuals, the human individuals, are striving for self-consciousness and need to arrive back home as self-conscious human spirits so that they will be of use to others, just as others have been of use to it. Therein you also find the union. So just as you have that the power which has been lent to it to exercise motion, which motion or which activities are of benefit to it and other individuals, that power is neutral. You then find that it's also possible there are some who uses that power which has been lent to them for the contrary purpose. Subsequently, the forms which they themselves create along the line are shady. The forms build up that which is ugly. That which is ugly in form, in reality, which are then impressed on the outer individual, which are then impressed on the deeds of the individual. So you find that this neutral power may be used in such a way that it is of benefit to the individual and also to others. That's the power of a union. Or you may have that the individual uses the same neutral power for that which is not of benefit to itself. Not of benefit to itself because the returns, the consequences of such activities tie knots within the realms of their operations. These knots do not enable the individual to rise higher, but the individual in its volitions is entangled in the lower regions. So you will find that through that power, when used in accordance with the laws of creation, such that the individual himself and others, and many others, become more awake, become more conscious, and subsequently self-conscious, they, in all naturalness, will have a sucking effect upwards, back to their origin as self-conscious human spirits. Whereas those who, either in ignorance or willingly, use that power which has been lent to them, which violates the laws of nature or the laws of creation, those ones entangle themselves in the undergrowths. In fact, such volitions form an undergrowth in which they are unable to sever themselves and rise higher. Unable to sever themselves and rise higher is not progress. For before too long, it will find that that region in which it has entangled itself is temporal. And because that region, this world of matter, is temporal, that region that has come into being and has matured and grown will go through a cycle where subsequently it will undergo disintegration. And any human personality that has been trapped in the undergrowth of distorted concepts is held fast within that region, such that when that which is temporal need to return to its primeval substance, that will be not an integration, but a disintegration, and the human personality, which has been trapped, will have to undergo the torments of disintegration such that it will revert back to its primeval states of unconsciousness. That in itself is not progress, but spiritually a form of disintegration of that which it had acquired up to that point where disintegration stepped in.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this explanation and picture that you've painted, showing how you could say the laws and the mechanism of creation work in regard to how we human beings act, either good or bad, and then the consequences that result from that, because we know there's a law: what you sow, you shall reap. So it sounds, again, like theoretical, but it's actually real. And you may not see the result in this earth life on the surface, but when you sense it deeply, you know that there has to be justice. So the laws are justice. The natural laws, the laws of creation are justice, not human laws. They're not doing it, but the natural laws are. So thank you for that. Now, Gregory, I want to go to a different angle completely now, which is marriage, because that's a union as well. Of to keep it, let's say, simple, it is between man and woman, or male and female life partners. And there's even a famous saying: marriages are made in heaven. So, which implies there's a perfect harmony between the two life partners. I mean, that might be hard to believe, living in the world that we live now. Maybe the old days, even I'm not sure if it is the old days, because it used to be that people were, in quotes, your parents may have chosen someone for you. So I don't know if that's meant to be perfect or not. But so the question I have, Gregory, marriage coming, is it really true that you can have marriage made in heaven? And if so, what does it really mean? Because I don't think people are perfect. So I don't know how you can have a harmony when the people are not perfect.
Harmony is not given. Harmony is cultivated. That which has to be cultivated, the supporting union in giving and taking, the supporting exchange, such that we have completeness, that must be cultivated. Just like you have with a fruit. If the fruit is not sown into the soil and supported with clearing and, in quotes, manure and all sorts of things, then you will find that it will not germinate. That which is referred to as a union in the spiritual sense are the innate abilities which, when brought together, will harmonize That is in the spiritual sense. However, as with all things here on earth, that which is planted or that which is cultivated has to be supported to grow. So the saying itself is quite right. The understanding of it leaves so much to be desired. Like you rightly said, seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open. Ask and it will be given to you. These are activities which are required for a union to grow, germinate properly, grow, and thrive. Without firm, vigorous activities, then it will not grow. If you yourself do not practice how to talk, then you cannot talk. If you do not practice how to walk, then you cannot walk. If, however, you put it into practice, not only spiritually, but in your thoughts and also in your deeds, which deeds are the exhibits that are perceptible to the individual, then through practice, it becomes stronger and stronger. That is what is expected in accordance with the living laws of nature, which living laws allows for the use of the neutral power to excite motion.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this answer. What you have in all this discussion tonight, it's been clear that we need to look at things from a spiritual angle, not on the material, earthly angle, which is quite different. So that's a different way of seeing things. So yes, thank you for that. Dear listeners, we've come to the end of the show tonight on the topic of the power of union, and hope you've enjoyed the discussion. It's been quite varied. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed that. I'd like to now read, as usual, from the Grail Message, the foreword. In fact, before even that, I would like to read right from the beginning, the text that goes before the foreword, and this is how it goes. Free yourself from all darkness. He who makes no effort to grasp the word of the Lord aright burdens himself with guilt. And now moving to the foreword, which is titled, For Your Guidance. The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I'm addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them the spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such, it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you're truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God. Abrushin. Dear listeners, if you wish to pick up the Grail Message or want to get information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. Gregory, is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing listeners a beautiful week ahead.
Thank you. Goodbye from me, listeners, as well. Have a beautiful week. Have a great week. I will be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time with another topic. Good night and God bless.